Welcome to Telephone Tuesdays. Been a busy old time here at the museum. Lots of new things coming in that we're working on. You hopefully would have seen the video already on these amazing electromechanical moving instruments and stuff. So much going on.
Yeah.
We got this amazing mystery machine here. The mystery is actually solved now, so check out the video for that. All these displays are getting packed with more cool stuff. Sam's been working on the Totalizator, which is an incredible electromechanical machine. And today we've got some more amazing electromechanical machines to show you. So nowadays, it's pretty hard to imagine a phone that doesn't have a number pad or even a rotary dial like this old-fashioned one. But there was a time where the only way to get connected to somebody to speak to them was to pick it up and speak to an actual human, an operator. So in manual systems like that, it was very easy for the operator, obviously, to speak to you and tell you how the call was progressing. But when things moved into the automatic telephone exchange era, well then they had to figure out a way for the machine to tell you what was happening. So one solution that they came up with, but not the only one, is one of these machines. We call it the ringer, some people call it a dynamotor. So here in the museum we have a changeover style setup for our ringing machines. So you can switch between machine number 1 and machine number 2. That's good in case one of them conks out and you can switch it over to the working one. This isn't the usual setup that they would have with a UAX 13 style exchange, but I mean, it's too cool not to use, isn't it? So imagine you're designing this system from scratch. There's an obvious incentive to have standard tones so that everybody across the network can understand what they mean. However, in reality, ringing machines were manufactured by different companies and they had slight variations. So depending on where you live, you will hear a slightly different tone. So even the two ringing machines that we have here sound slightly different. And those tones, of course, would not only vary across local exchanges, but across the entire globe, because there were different specifications in different countries as well. So you can tell already that this is a very intricate subject, just like most things telephony. And we're not going to really do it justice in a short video, but here's a nice sample of some ringtones from across the world. So here in the museum, we mostly have equipment from the UK. So we're going to concentrate on this equipment and the tones that it produces. If the tones sound different where you live, let us know in the comments. I want to hear about it. And let us know some extra information about all these ring and tones machines. I'm sure people will appreciate the information. Right, so let's get to the tones themselves. So in a telephone exchange, there are loads of different tones and they're all differentiated by pitch and rhythm. Let me go through some for you. In fact, our mate Nick DiCarlo has actually used these tones to compose an accompaniment to a solo violin. If you think that was cool, then you can get your hands on a load of these recordings of the telephone exchange, not only the tones, but the clicks and clacks of the relays and electrical mechanical switches and stuff. That is in the sample pack link down below in the description. So the tones themselves are actually generated directly off of the motor, in a very similar way to how the tone wheels work in a Hammond organ. In simple terms, a wheel moves past an electromagnetic pickup, it varies the current and makes an oscillation. Pretty sure we'll be returning to that concept in a future video. They're not actually sine waves, perfect sine waves. You can see from here, if I turn this on, you can hear it as well. So I've got a speaker set up here linked into a group selector up there so we can listen to the first tone that you will hear after you pick up the phone. That is the dial tone. Let's listen to that. Right, so as you can see from this diagram in telephony volume 2, the dial tone is a continuous tone around about 33 cycles per second. Or it would have been at least when this book was published, but our particular ringing machine was made slightly after and so is actually closer to 50 cycles per second. So yeah, if you said to yourself, you know, I'm sure this sounded different when I was a kid, you're not going mad. Standards have changed over time. And side note, hertz and cycles per second
our equivalents.
So the dial tone is telling you that the system here is ready to receive your dialing. You can guess it from the name, right? And you need to wait for the dial tone because it takes a little while for one of these line finders to find your line, yeah? If you want to know more about all that switch routing, then you can check out one of the previous episodes. All that switching's done different ways in different exchanges, but it can take up to about a couple of seconds to do it. So it's very important that you listen for that dial tone. Otherwise, one of the selectors up here, these ones, might miss your dialing. Funny enough, we may have some young people watching that have never heard a real dial tone because mobile phones only connect after you've entered all of the numbers. So there's no need for it. So now if everything goes right, you get connected through, you dial your last number, it goes through, and you should be able to hear the ringtone. There you go.
This one is not continuous like the dial tone. It's actually interrupted. You see that there? And my book says that the ringing tone is at a pitch of 133 cycles per second. But again, by the time that our ringing machine had been manufactured, they did something slightly different, very interesting. They actually mixed that 133 cycles per second with a separate oscillator at 400 cycles per second. And the amazing effect of mixing those two frequencies together is actually to create a lower pitched third frequency as the two frequencies go in and out of phase and stuff with each other. You'll be familiar with the effect if you've ever tuned a guitar, yeah? And it's actually how those Bruling Cure beat frequency oscillators work, those beautiful pieces of test equipment we did a video on. You've got two high-pitched oscillators, one of them slightly detuned from the other, and that's how you change the pitch of the lower note. You just filter out those two high ones and you're left with the lower note, and it's technically referred to as heterodyning. And you might have heard that word in radio spheres, because at really high frequencies it's referred to as super heterodyning, and you take the radio wave that's received and then you heterodyne it with another oscillator. That creates a lower oscillation, which is then easier to demodulate and turn into your audio out of the radio. Yeah, so amazing that all of these different technologies share the same concepts. And if for the keen-eared among you, you may have picked up that the snippet of UK ringtone that we heard earlier is actually different to the ringer that we have in the exchange, because again the standards changed later and they decided instead of mixing 400 Hz and 133 Hz, they would mix 400 Hz with 450 Hz. So it's the effect of these notes bumping up against each other that gives some of these tones their quite distinct, like aharmonious quality.
Of course, the person on the other end of the phone will also hear a ringing to signal that they should pick up the phone. But that is a different signal. It's actually generated by a different ringing current, enough current to actually move the electromagnetic trembler in here that strikes the bells. So it's pretty easy to see on these how the cams actually interrupt the tones to make the rhythms. Watch these switches here as they get moved by the rotating cam. There you go, that is generating the rhythm of the ringtone. And you can also see all of the other tone rhythms being generated. But if the person that you're calling is already on a call, then you're gonna hear the busy tone, this one. So this one's at a frequency of 400 cycles per second and interrupted like that. 0.75 seconds on, 0.75 seconds off. And if that number that you're calling is not connected to a telephone, or you're calling a number that you're not allowed to call, for example, if you're calling certain numbers from a payphone, then you're gonna hear the number unobtainable tone, the NU tone, this one here. And you'll see here that the number unobtainable tone is also 400 cycles per second, just like the busy tone. So it's quite clever. They've used the same oscillator for two tones, just that the busy tone is an interrupted rhythm. So that cuts down on machinery, cuts down on equipment, cuts down on cost. Very clever.
And you remember that they also used that 400 Hz mixed with the 133 Hz for the ringing tone.
Now there is a position on here that says EET. That stands for Equipment Engaged Tone. Now let's have a listen to that. It's very similar, isn't it, to the busy tone? Just a slightly different rhythm. So when you hear the equipment engaged tone, that means that the telephone exchange has actually reached capacity and it can't handle any more telephones. But they've slightly disguised it, haven't they, by making it sound very similar to the busy tone. So customers calling in will just think that the line is busy, but a proper engineer calling in will know that actually the telephone exchange is at capacity. They don't want to let the customers know that though. You can actually see the different tones and interruptions being generated here on the cams and switches. I'm pointing here to the furthest most contacts. That is the equipment engaged tone. And then if I switch it to the busy tone, watch here, you can see that one switching. So that's just some of the telephone tones that you will hear in an electromechanical exchange like this. There are loads of other different types of tones, as well as automatic recorded announcements from things like these diverticals and announcers, but we will cover all those in another video. So we've all heard these sounds a million times, but I bet you never gave them that much thought, did you? Quite a clever and simple way to communicate what's going on with all this quite complex machinery. So you don't need any specialist knowledge to operate a telephone exchange. So let me know in the comments if the tones sound different where you live or if I missed any, and you can check out the sample pack link down below or the Patreon, which really helps support what we do here at the museum. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next Tuesday.